television show in history to launch her own cable network. She's a global media leader, a philanthropist, a producer, an actress, and one of the most influential women in the world. Please join me in proudly welcoming Oprah Winfrey.
happens to me, no matter where I go, if somebody's like, hey, Oprah, how you doing? I am thrilled to be here with you all, and so glad that you're taking the time out to talk about innovation, to share ideas, to commiserate with your fellow colleagues. I know that so many of you are retailers who paid your own way to be here. Hello to that. I am so grateful to Dish, because Dish, you all were the first people to have us in HD on OWN from the start. Thank you. From the start of it. So I'm here just for a few moments to share my thoughts about change. When I stepped down from the Oprah Winfrey Show after 25 years and made that decision thoughtfully and prayerfully, I had no idea what the full force and impact of embracing change really meant. It's really easy to say that. Embrace change, allow yourself to be open to the possibilities of change, when everything is stable, terrific, you're on top of the mountain, things are going well. When I made the decision to come off the show, I did so because I believe that the 25 years of cultural impact that we've had on all of our viewers around the world was something that I wanted to remain intact, and I did not want to be one of those people. I remember seeing Muhammad Ali in the later years saying, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want somebody to say she should have gotten out of the ring. And I don't want to be dragged out punch drunk holding on to the ropes. So when I stepped down fully open to the possibilities of what life was to offer me next, even called my show on OWN The Next Chapter. And then I got hit with the realities of what it really takes to build a cable network from the ground up. And I happened to have been at a friend's house, a friend of a friend of a friend's house, and Lorne Michaels, you all know Lorne Michaels, who was a founder and creator of Saturday Night Live, was there. This was a couple of years just before I was able to end the show, and Lorne Michaels said to me, girl, you have no idea of the enormous challenge you have just stepped into. And I say, oh, no, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be fine. He goes, no, you have no idea the learning curve that you're in for with creating a cable channel from scratch. And he was correct. I had no idea. There were many days where I felt, as I'm sure some of you in this room have felt, when you are an entrepreneur, starting from scratch, you ask yourself, what the hell have I done? Has that ever happened to you? I don't know what I did. And there are many days where you said, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Why didn't I just stay where I was? Okay, it's the Oprah show, you're competing against Judge Judy, and come on. It's okay. But I knew, as everybody feels at some point in your life, if you haven't already, if you're too young to have felt it, there's a quickening that comes around 40 and certainly around 50, a quickening and an urgency to get on with what you're really meant to do. And for many years, my poet, mother friend, Maya Angelou, would say to me, when I would call her with some kind of difficulty or challenge, she would say to me, right now you are about show business, but there will come a time when you are really about your father's business. And she was not talking about burning. There is a calling in all of our lives for every person who is meant to do exactly what you came to Earth to do. And so I understood that the Oprah show was the foundation and the beginning of a platform for which I could speak to the world. And so when David Zaslav came and offered me the opportunity to partner with Discovery Channels and do something different, to change the way I saw the world from the perspective of one show, doing 5 hours a week, to multiple hours, to 8,000 hours a year of television programming, for some crazy reason I said yes to that. I said yes because from 1992 I understood that the platform of the Oprah Winfrey Show was indeed that. It was a vehicle and not just a show. I was in the middle of a show and competing the way we all compete with each other and our adversaries in competition. And we were doing a show, and for some crazy reason, it was during the era where we would have what we call confrontational television. And for some crazy reason, we thought it was a good idea to have a husband, a wife, and his mistress on at the same time.
Why people agree to do that on television?
I used to say I don't know, but now I do know. So we had the husband, the wife, and the mistress on at the same time, and our producers were ecstatic about that, because who gets the mistress to say yes on live television? Are y'all tweeting me right now? Go ahead. Hello. You need a closer shot. I'm going to look like a raisin in a rice patch. Hello, you like that one? So anyway, the husband and the wife and the mistress were all on at the same time, and in the middle of that live show, the husband said to his wife that his mistress was pregnant.
Oh, God.
Yes, and I felt just as you just did when you just heard it. But I was witnessing it. Not only was I witnessing it, I had created the platform in order for that to happen. So I felt responsible for it, even though I didn't know he was going to say it, and it was live television. In that moment, I knew that not only had her life changed because she was humiliated in front of millions of people, but I also knew that my life was going to change because I knew that if I had to stay in television and continue that kind of programming, I would get out. And I said to my producers afterwards, never again am I going to be in a position where I put somebody in a position where they can be used, exploited, or humiliated. We're going to take the high road. That was my really first opportunity to look at what I was doing and why I was doing it, and how I would use the force of the platform to change the way I operated forever. That was in the early 90s. And I will tell you that the show in its 25 years has been my greatest teacher. I learned everything I know about business and everything I know about life from that show. So I want to share with you just three, briefly, life-changing, life-enhancing, and life-transformational ideas that have helped me in the best of times and the worst of times. There was a woman on my show who was a neuroscientist, professor at Harvard, and at the age of 37, she noticed in the shower that her arm had gone limp, and that she could see not just the water, but she could see the elements, the participles, the atoms, the construction of the water, and she thought she was losing her mind. But she was a neuroscientist, so she knew she wasn't losing her mind. She knew she was having a stroke. And she's written a marvelous book for anybody who chooses to read called My Stroke of Insight. And during the process of getting herself out of the shower, she took 4 hours to be able to dial 911 because she lost function in that part of the brain that could figure out what numbers were. And finally, just through some kind of sensory recall, was able to hit 911 and call the police, for whom they said she sounded like a German Shepherd on the phone when she was talking, because she lost her ability to also speak. And for an entire year, she was basically rendered to the level of a child who didn't know how to read or comprehend or understand. She tells a story of being in a supermarket and her mother saying, "Well, you understand what 1 + 1 is?" And she said, "No, what is a 1?" So she'd gone that far down. While she was in the hospital, she said she could see all of the excitement and fury around her with everybody talking about something that was going to be happening, but she didn't know what that was. They were talking about and using the word mother. Because she'd lost all functioning in the left part of the brain, she didn't know what a mother was. Her mother comes bursting through the door, comes in, pulls back the sheets, and gets into bed with her. And she says at the end of that chapter, "I didn't know what the word mother meant, but it certainly felt right and good for me." So over the period of a year, she brings herself back through therapy and hard work just to be able to speak and to understand what language is and understanding numbers. She said while she was in the hospital, this is the lesson, because she'd lost the capacity to function in the left part of her brain, the right brain was full functioning. The right brain, which is our creativity, which allows us expansiveness, which is where our art and passion and soulfulness is stored. She said she was able to determine, decipher, when a nurse came into the room, whether that nurse was interested in her or whether that nurse was interested in getting off at 5 o'clock or whatever the time was. She could feel the energy of people because that's the part of her brain that was working and the other parts were shut down. And she learned that the people who brought her the energy that was open, that was gracious, that was kind, that was energy of service, those people made her better. That there was something about the connection of energy that actually made her better. And as soon as she was able to speak, she created a sign that said, "Be responsible for the energy that you bring into this room." That has been one of my greatest teachers. I put that on my makeup door in the morning. I put that on the door for the producers. I put that on the door for all people that I later then had associations with. Be responsible for the energy that you bring into this room. There's a wonderful line in the play Wicked where the Wicked Witch of the East says, "Don't go bringing me no bad news." So it's kind of like that. Being responsible for the energy that you bring changes your energy field and allows you in your work, whether it's challenging, whether it's inspiring or not, being responsible for the energy that you bring allows you to have what I think is the most valuable opportunity in engaging with customers. My customers are my viewers, and that is connection. For people to understand that where you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it, really matters to me. Which brings me to my second greatest lesson. There was a wonderful author, my favorite author, Toni Morrison, who's won the Nobel Prize for Literature and the Pulitzer Prize and all of that. And she said, for those of you who are parents, she said when she was a single mom and her boys were young, she spent a lot of time saying, when the boys would come into the room, she'd say, "Pull your pants up, comb your hair, button your shirt. What are you doing? You look like, fix yourself." And she realized that every time she would do that, it would in some way diminish their spirit. And so she began to understand what I think is probably one of the most valuable lessons of all, is that what her sons wanted is to know that when they entered the room, her eyes lit up. Do your eyes light up when I enter the room? One of my most valuable lessons in understanding that every single person that you are dealing with, that I ever dealt with, and over the years, I have done 35,697 interviews. Tomorrow, that will be 43. And I will tell you that the common denominator in the human experience, my experience and your experience, whether you recognize it or not, is that every single person is looking for one thing. And this has happened, I can tell you, it just happened the last interview that I did with Jason Collins. It has happened when I was interviewing child molesters. It happens when I'm interviewing people who've murdered family members. It happens when I interview people who are victims. It happens when I interview people who are celebrities. It even happened when I was interviewing Beyonce and all of her Beyonce-ness. At the end of every interview, almost to a person, they say this: was that okay? Was that okay? How did I do? Was that all right? Did you get what you needed? Every single person, in one form or another, wants to know exactly what Toni Morrison said about her sons. Did you see me? Did you hear me? And did what I say mean anything to you? So the power of validation, the power of knowing whether I'm sitting with 5 men who admit to molesting children and are telling me how they do it and why they do it and how they're able to seduce children, or whether I'm sitting with a room full of men who themselves have been seduced as young boys, or young women who've been seduced, that the sense of, did what I say mean anything to you, is what carries every conversation and every interaction. And it actually is happening in our lives all the time. Because I understood this, Stedman, who's my life partner, is a golfer. And so that means I'm a golf widow a lot. And I used to not appreciate it, but now, because I did the Oprah show all those years, I accept it. I have learned to accept and to embrace the whole idea of hitting a ball for 8 hours. I've learned that. And those of you who are head of your households and also have the responsibility of preparing dinner, whether you're male, female, you understand that when you make a meal, you want the person to come and sit down and eat it. Is that not true? Is that not true? You make a meal, and I have cooked it, and so, you know, I don't have to cook, I will say. I don't have to, but I love doing it. And so this is Saturday, and I prepared the meal, and I think I'm Martha Stewart, because I have gone out to the garden, and I've gotten fresh basil, and I went to the butcher. Who the hell goes to the butcher? Where is the butcher? I went to the butcher, and I got the organic chicken that I'm gonna stuff, and prepared dinner, and, you know, everybody's been through this. The first 15 minutes when somebody's prepared dinner, it's okay, because you think it's 15 minutes. There's something about when it hits 20. Is it not? 15, 10 minutes, you go, oh, late traffic. Oh, okay, problem. Oh, okay, could have been an accident. Ha ha. 20, Where the hell are you? So you're standing there, you're still trying to maintain a good attitude about it. Because I did the Oprah show, so I know I'm supposed to be pleasant. So 20 minutes comes, and then 27 minutes come, and then you're like, it better not turn into 30. And then 30 minutes comes, and it's trouble. It's trouble, and he knows it. 42 minutes later, when he walks in, carrying a basket of zucchini and some tomatoes. That's his offering. And I say, well, we already grow zucchini and tomatoes, so the fact that you found some on the road means nothing. And so then I deliberate whether or not I'm going to have that thing that women do, and men do too, but women do more often, where you hold it in and you're really ticked off for a long time about something? Or am I going to take the principles I've learned about validation from the Oprah Winfrey Show and apply them in this moment? So he comes in and he has the offering, and I go, well, I would think this, Stedman. If the street lights are on, that would mean you cannot see that damn ball. So when the street lights are on, if I were you, that would be sort of my cue that I should be moving in the direction of, oh. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. So you go through that little part where you're arguing about the thing that you're really not arguing about. So then I decided, okay, let me apply these principles. I say, here's the problem. I am feeling that you have taken me for granted. I am feeling, not that I'm not seen, I'm feeling really kind of disrespected. Because I'm feeling like this was my day. I decided to give my day to you. I decided to offer my time and create this, what I call my love meal. And then my love meal went cold. And so I would just like to say that out loud, that this is what is going on with me. I will have to say that the apology that he gave, still sits in my heart space. And we've never had that as an issue again, because as we all know, he doesn't tweet, I do, but you can call home, you can let me know that you're not going to be here. But the real truth is, validation in every aspect of my life and your life matters. And the reason it matters is because that's what every single person, your 2-year-old, your 20-year-old, your boss, the people you are bossing, every connection, every human being wants to know that what I said was heard, what I did was seen, and that I matter. My third greatest lesson from the show. I am considered a famous person. What I know about fame is that the only difference between being famous and not is that more people know your name. And so when I go someplace, I come in here, you go, hey, Oprah. And the truth is now, the way the world has changed, people used to want autographs. Nobody cares about an autograph anymore. Everybody just wants your picture. Tweet, tweet. Everybody just wants to know. They want validation, verification. I have seen you today. Take my picture, take my picture, take a picture with me, take a picture with me. And because I am like family to so many people, I've grown up, I've raised millions of people, I finally had to leave the show because people's daughters and then their granddaughters were starting to watch the show after 25 years. So if you were 10 years old and you're coming home from school and your mother was watching the show, you're 35 years old and you have your own children now. So I've raised a world of people. But the greatest lesson I came to understand is something that Dr. Martin Luther King said years ago. And that is, not everybody can be famous. We live in a world right now where everybody thinks they can with a reality show, broadcast on Dish. But not everybody can be famous. I love this quote. But everybody can be great. Because greatness is determined by service. Wow. The first time I heard that, I was a young girl. And over the years, I have embodied the message of greatness through service and understood, as so many of you already clearly do, that real success, no matter your business, is determined by the level of service and your ability to shift the paradigm to service. So all those years in the beginning when I was just grateful to have a job in television, I've been in television since I was 19 years old. I was an anchor woman in Nashville at the age of 19. And WLAC TV, when it was WLAC, then it became WTVN. So I've been in TV my whole life. And at the time, at 19, I was just happy to have a job. And people would call up and say, you that color girl.
You sound really good for a color girl. Didn't y'all know y'all could read like that? And then people would see me out at the Kroger store, and they'd say, oh my God, you're that color girl on TV. I can't believe you come out looking like that. So then I learned, oh, you got a certain, like, you can't go out in your shorts and flip-flops anymore. I guess you have to, like, dress the way people think you should dress. So when I first started, I was just happy to have a job, as many people are in the beginning. But this is the thing I know about embracing change, embracing new opportunities, about creating a space where you actually can be innovative and not stuck, is that if you shift the paradigm, no matter your job or occupation, and everybody in here is all for the same goal, but no matter your job or occupation, if you're a teacher, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're a clerk, you're a dish network retailer, if the paradigm shifts to service, how can I use not just what I do, but who I am, all that I am, and bring 100% of myself, be responsible for the energy that I bring with every single customer, with every person that I encounter, be responsible for the energy that I bring, and in bringing that energy, knowing that the person that I am dealing with is looking for the exact same thing that I am. That person is looking for validation. That person is looking to know that what is happening with me right now, what is going on in this moment, whatever my complaint is, whatever my issue is, I want to know, do you see me? Do you hear me? And does what I say matter to you? If you can make that shift in your personal life, in your business life, in your community life, I guarantee you that not only will there be greater successes, but literally what happens is you transform, as do the people around you. From the beginning, I knew that this new challenge of taking on a network, I knew it was going to be hard. And there's a woman named Sherry Salata who ran the Oprah show for many years, and then she became president of OWN. And for years she'd say, oh, we should climb Kilimanjaro, oh, this is the year we should climb Kilimanjaro. And last year she happened to say, you know, maybe this is the year. We should climb Kilimanjaro and then broadcast it live when we reach the summit. And I go, you are nuts, you are crazy. First of all, Kilimanjaro for us is on Wilshire Boulevard. We are building a network and we do not need to go to Kenya, because right here, right now, we are in the climb of our lives, building new customers, creating value, using our brand of 25 years to expand into new territories. Every Saturday and Sunday, we have the most social network in practically all of media, with Super Soul Sunday, with Ayanla on Saturday nights. We are using the new medium of communicating to our customers, our viewers, in such a way that it helps the climb. I am grateful to you for being a part of that climb, being a part of the vision that has enabled our network to show its growth, and by the end of the year, its profits. I'm grateful, and I wish for all of you who've come here for a greater sense of knowing how to get better, to do better, and be better. What I wish for all of you is grace and glory in the climb. Thank you so much for your time.
Let's have a chat. You want to have a chat?
Sure. You want to chit chat?
I want to chat with you.